Okay. Today we're going to start. Oh, thank you. Nice. We're going to start on Chaf Zayin. Zayin on the top. 8 Zayman. At the top of the page. Oh, actually, it starts one word before. It's my. Yeah, we thank Hashem to be able to learn Torah every day. It's list of our learning. We should have the base of English immediately. Learning English, topical the Basparach and Yamin. Some have been seeing. And for Shleima, David Ben Sarah, Dara Getzel has been Torah. My parents, and Chaim, Jimmy, Chaim Ben Sarah. Okay, so it starts like this. Itmar. Start in a statement of Amirayim. Eid Zaymim. Eid Zaymim means that he testified against someone, but then two other witnesses came along and said, how could you say that you were there witnessing this event? You were with us somewhere else. So it turns out that he had testified, and two other witnesses testified that he's testifying falsely. So at which point does he become puzzle? Because let's say he testified, and then that he witnessed an event. He testified that he witnessed an event. And then he made another testimony. And then two witnesses come and say, how could you say that first one, you were with us? So he had lied before the second testimony. So, but the second witnesses that proved that he lied only came after the second testimony. So do we say that he was puzzled from the first testimony because that's when he lied? Do we say he's puzzled when the witnesses told us that he's puzzled? Now, obviously from the crime, right? That would be when he committed the crime, then he's not, then he's committed the crime is when he testified falsely. Well, it turns out it's a machlaikas. Abaya says we go back to the crime. He's puzzled from the time that he testified. Let's say he testified in Nisan. And the witnesses that told us that, how could you say this? They came in Tishrei 6 months later. Rava says, Mikanal Abo Nifsal. Rava surprisingly says that he's only puzzled from the time that he's caught, not from the time that he committed the crime. Abaya says he's puzzled from when he testified falsely midna da'asid rashahu. As soon as he lied in court by that testimony, he becomes wicked. But Torah says, Al tashis yadchem rasha. Do not put your hand with the rasha. That means that don't allow a wicked person to testify. Al tashis rasha aid. That means don't let a wicked person testify as a witness. Rava says, Mikanal Abonif. So Rava says, no. He's only invalid from the time that he's caught. The fact that we don't trust him is a chiddush. We don't trust them, right? It has to be is a Eidim Zaymin. You need to achizum mekulam, right? You need to invalidate all of them. We don't trust them because the question is like this. I have two witnesses that say they witnessed it. They witnessed the story. Right. So they're invalidating both of them. They're both becoming possible. So they have two witnesses saying that they saw the story. You have another two witnesses say that these two witnesses were with us somewhere else. Now it's basically that's 2 against 2. Why do we trust the second 2 over the first 2? Because it's the Torah says. It's Gzeir Sakasa. It's a chiddush. Why should I trust the second 2? Who says the second 2 are saying the truth? But that's a chiddush. So the reason why it's a chiddush is my chazas to samchas hani smeichahani. Why are you relying on the second witnesses? Why don't you rely on the first witnesses? We only have the chiddush from the time of the chiddush, which is from when they were caught, from when they were testified against. That's when they become puzzle. And it sounds like that we don't really, in other words, logically, we don't really trust the second witnesses that the first ones are invalid. So we don't take it back all the way to the original time of the crime, of the testimony. Okay. Right.
I had a question. We learned previously about capital punishment. Did it ever play out that the capital punishment was applied and then the witnesses were
You'll see a story. The Gemara later.
Oh, Rabbi.
Yeah.
Hi. So any other invalidating issue would be lemafreya as opposed to itzamim?
That's going to come up in a second.
Okay.
You'll see. So, Ikadamri, there are those that say, you see, Abaya is the more logical one, that from when they committed the crime, but Rava is a little surprising. Rava says only from the time that they were caught. And Ikadamri, the first explanation for Rava is because it's a chiddush. We only know from that time and onward. Ikadamri, there is another version to what Rava says. Rava namika Abaya svirle. Rava really holds like Abaya as well. Really, he would like to say that it's from they become invalid from that time. Well, the only problem is that in my time kamar mikana labasa. So why did Rava say that it's from here and onward? It's because people didn't know in the interim that this fellow was invalid. So all of the transactions that were done with him being as a witness would all be would all lose out. Everyone that purchased something and he signed on those documents, they would all lose out because he's invalid. We didn't know about it. Yeah, so because of that, we say that he's only invalid from the time that we know that he's invalid, which is when the new witnesses show up and say that he's invalid. Now, yeah, it'll be a huge mess. Now, it sounds like it's all rabbinic, the way that they can just say this. Because if it's a biblical law, so, okay, there's a mess, but the mess is so that it's a problem, right? But it doesn't seem like it's a rabbinic issue. It seems like it's we're quoting a pasuk here. Do you have any comments in there? How you could just adjust it and say that, well, we're going to say that he's kosher just because of a problem. The rationale applies only in monetary cases. However, if he testifies in non-monetary cases, his disqualification does apply retroactively since no purchasers are affected. Yeah, that doesn't help me. Maybe what, no, I don't know. It sounds like what the rabbis are making him acceptable. He's invalid according to the Torah, but the rabbis are making him acceptable just to help some purchasers. Okay, whatever the case is. My binayu, the Gemara says, what's the difference between these two reasons of Rava? Yes, Daniel, here's where your comment comes in. It could be binayu dasida beitrei b'chad. Let's say it was two witnesses against one. Two witnesses for this one, two witnesses for that one. So then it's not much of a chiddush because it's two against one. Each one is being invalidated by another two witnesses. So when you have two witnesses, so two is like 100. But when you have one witness, then two is significant. So two against one is not a chiddush. So if the whole point of Rava is that you only go from now and on is because it's a chiddush that they're really invalid in the first place. Well, over here it's not a chiddush, and therefore we would go back to the time of that first testimony and say that they're invalid retroactively. Another difference would be inami de paslina begazdanusa. Let's say it wasn't Adam Zimmerman. Let's say they testified that they stole. So that's not a chiddush. They testified that these witnesses stole. So then we would say that they're invalid, even retroactive. It's only if it's Eidim Zaymamin that it starts from now. Yeah. Yeah, so that would be a big difference. Two differences. They have the same difference. Both of them have Seder de Lekuchas, that until we knew about it, there were purchasers here that were using them as witnesses. Both of them have that, but they both don't have the Chiddush. So both of these differences have the same difference. It would have been interesting if you would have brought me a case the other way, that one goes this way, one goes that way. One has the Chiddush, but doesn't have the Pseudo de Lekuchas, but that the Gemara doesn't have. Okay.
What would what would amount?
Right, not be a Chiddush?
No, but why did it turn out the same? Or different because he wasn't known.
No, regarding that he's not known, that's the same thing. It's regarding the other point. When I have two witnesses that say this event occurred, and another witness say, how could you say that you were with us? So that's 2 against 2. But when two witnesses say that this event occurred, and other two witnesses say that back in 80 you stole, so they're not testifying against that. So it's only two witnesses saying that they're puzzle. So there's no chiddush that they're puzzle, right? It's nothing to do with the case. So they would be puzzle retroactive because there's no chiddush that it's those that the second 2 win. Okay, V'amar Rab Yirmiyah Midifti. Rab Yirmiyah Midifti, he says the following, that Ovid Rav Papi of the Kavasei de Rava, that he said Rav Papi Paskin in a real case, he Paskin like Rava, which would mean that the people were valid retroactive. It's only from here and on that they're invalid. Mar Baravashi Amar Hilchasa Kavasei Dabaya. However, Mar Baravashi, Ravashi's son, he says that the halacha is like Abaya. Now, in all of Shas, the halacha is always like Rava. There's only 6 cases that the halacha is like Abaya. Well, it turns out this is one of these cases. V'hilchasa Kavasei Dabaya b'Yal Kagam. Yal Kagam is an acronym for the 6 cases. The first one, the Yud stands for Yir Shlei Midas. We had in Bava Metzia. Someone loses an object, he doesn't know that he dropped it. But if he knew that he dropped it, he would have given up hope. That's a machlekas Abaye and Rava. Or Abaye is strict and says that if he didn't know about it, it's not considered that he gave up hope. And we say that the person that found it too early for the person, and therefore he still has to return it. Then we have another case, which is Yal, the Ayin, which is Eid Zayman. Witnesses that are conspiring, which is our Gemara right here. Machlekas Abaye and Rava. Or Abaye says it's Lemafreya Nifsal. And here also we do Lemafreya. They seem to be opposite logic though. In that case, by Yesh Midas, Abaye says only when he finds out is it considered Yesh. Over here it's even before we knew that it was already, it seems to be the opposite. Lechi Aymed Me'elav that's a Gemara in Erevin about a lechi, which is a post at the end of a courtyard, not a courtyard, an alleyway. Kedushin Shalei Nimser Labia Ish Mekadesh. That was a case. I'm not reading from the Gemara. I'm reading from the cases in Rashi. That was a case where someone would not ever be able to consummate the marriage because there was a doubt of who it was given to. They were sisters, so he wouldn't be able to pull through. Is that considered a good betrothal? Gili das begitin b'shalech get, something else about gitin, and mumarich l'nevelos lahachs l'kaman. We're going to have another case on this page where someone eats non-kosher food. Is he puzzle? Is not trusted for kashrus, because he eats non-kosher food. We'll see. There's 2. First case is, as we go back to the Gemara, it says mumar eichel nevelos l'teyavan. If a person eats non-kosher food because it's cheaper, he likes it and it's cheaper. So we see that he cares about he cares about money, And so therefore we don't trust him with monetary matters. So Divrei Hakol Pasal, everyone says that he's Pasal. If he's not willing to, if he's that greedy that he's going to buy non-kosher food because it's cheaper, then he would also testify falsely because someone's giving him money. He's easy to pay off. Abaya Amar, oh, I'm sorry, I skipped the next case. Lahachis, let's say he does it not because it's cheaper. He just does it in spite. There could be a bunch of explanations of what exactly he's doing, but the food is not cheaper. It's not better. It's not cheaper. He's just doing because I don't go for those laws. So Abaya Amar Pasal, Abaya says if you're not eating kosher food, then we can't trust you for testimony. Rava Amar Kasher, Rava says that it's kosher, that he's kosher. Rava's explanation, well, let's take a look. Abaya Amar Pasal, Abaya says that he's invalid, Havli Rasha. He's wicked. You can't have a wicked person as a witness. And Rava says kosher, Rasha the Chamas Binan. What the Torah meant, a wicked person, was talking about someone that can't be trusted with money. This person, he may be a very honest person. He just doesn't eat kosher, but he's very honest. When it comes to other people, it comes to him and Hashem, he has his own ideas. When it comes to other people, he knows what's ethical. It's not going to lie.
If Hashem provides the kosher, he decides to buy the cheaper option.
Well, he's buying the cheap. If it's because it's cheaper, then we don't trust him because of one little a few pennies, he's willing to give up everything that he believes in. So then he'll probably get paid off to testify as well. Here we're not talking about that it's cheaper. He doesn't eat kosher because he doesn't eat kosher. Nothing to do with cheaper. And the question is it because he's a non-religious person, do you also not trust him in court?
Kosher.
Meisvei starts with a question on Rava. Rava is more lenient on him. Abaya is more strict on him. Meisvei al tashis Rosh Eid, al tashis Chamas Eid says that you don't have someone that's wicked as testifying. Who are these people? Elu gazlonim umayolim b'shvus. These are people that steal, and also people that swear falsely. My love, what do you mean swear falsely? So, and actually it says shvu'ais. They violate oaths in the plural. So what is it referring to? Echad shvus shav, echad shvus mammon. Whether it's an oath that's regarding gaining money, or whether it's not gaining money. For example, if someone swears that this pillar is made out of stone, now there's two options. Either it's clearly stone, so then that's called a shvus shav, or if it's made out of wood or made out of gold, and he says that it's just made out of cement. So he's a clear liar. What's he gaining from that? Nothing. So he's not gaining any money from that. And nevertheless, we say that he's pasal. Now, Rava would say that the only reason why he should be pasal is if he steals money, if he's cheap with money. He's right, because that's when we're afraid he's going to be hired to testify falsely. But according to this, he does it. Yeah, he does it not even for money. And nevertheless, we say that he's pasal. Maybe it could be that this person, when it comes to money, maybe he would never lie. But the Brisa still says that he's pasal. The kasha and Rava, that Rava would say is kosher.
Yeah. That goes against the saying that what they made a person like already is that he wouldn't even do it for free. So here we're saying for free is okay.
What did we say yesterday?
Yeah, with the gambling, that like when he would not even touch the dice is for free. Fun.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, yeah. No, but here we're saying that maybe he's not a sinner when it comes to other people. Maybe he's an ethical person. He would never harm a fly. He would never lie to gain money. Would never take someone's money that wasn't his. But the only thing is,
that he does for free.
But yeah, well, it's not. It's only between him and God. It doesn't affect anyone. Okay. Gemara says like. It's not a question on Rava, because we can explain this brisa, that both of them are referring to oaths that are gaining money. By shvuos, so why do we say a plural? So shvuos de alma. In general, we're talking about oaths. This is that plural that's referring to the rest of the world. It's not referring to this oath and that oath. But in general, there's a plural. Okay. Mesei. Now we have a question on Abaya. It says Al Tashis Rasha Aid, Al Tashis Chamas Aid. Abaya said that it doesn't matter what the person lies about, we don't trust him in court. Elu in the Brisa elaborates who are these wicked people that we can't trust. People that steal and people that lend money on interest. We see that it's only referring to people that are trying to gain money. And Abaya would say, why does it have to be those examples? It could be even someone that eats straight. It could be any. It doesn't have to be specifically regarding money. Tiyufta da Abaya. This is a very strong question on Abaya. Okay. Nema ketanai. Gemara compares this to a machlekes tanaim. I mean, something not exactly, it's not a perfect match. The Gemara says maybe it's the same machlekes. Eid zaymen pasal l'chala terakula. If someone becomes an eid zaymen because he testified, and other people, two other witnesses said that how could you testify about so and so on this and this date? You were with us. So, Reb Meir says that once you become invalid, then you're invalid for every possible case. Rabbi Yossi says no, that's not true. When do we say that you become pasal shehuzim b'din nefashos? If you tried to murder someone, you tried to say that you saw this person killing someone else, and therefore you're going to put this person to death without and really you weren't even there. But if it was just a monetary case, so kashal adin nefashos, then we would say that you're still kosher for capital punishment cases. Because money you're not so serious about, but that doesn't mean that when it comes to life, you're not serious. But when it comes to life, you're going to be more careful.
I think it's not a matter of being careful. If the guy said, "Oh, I saw the person being killed by," right? That was a one-time occurrence. The person wasn't killed twice. So either he saw it or he didn't see it. But when it comes to mamanas, he might have seen another transaction, a different. He might have had his days wrong, etc., etc. So it's very easy to make mistakes with mamanas, but it's almost impossible with homicide. Either you were there when it happened or you weren't there. They're very many.
It's not helping the logic. What we're saying now is that when he becomes invalid because of a monetary case, he's still valid for a capital punishment case. Now, if the reason why but the way you're putting it is that he's still valid. He just made a mistake.
Yeah.
The Gemara's not doing that. The Gemara is saying that we know he's not making a mistake. He's a clear liar. We caught him, and nevertheless, we're still going to say he's kosher for capital punishment. Now, there's people that this they'll allow themselves to do, and this then.
They're just given a different excuse. They're going to still let them be witness for punishment.
Okay.
You watch Netflix would be very mocked and being on time for that. Depends on.
You saw me walking the dog. I was listening.
Sure.
You
don't know what you're missing out over here.
A lot. It seems to me that, the Rabbanim have this because they have the ability to say Hefker based at Hefker. They can make distinctions when this discussion of human nature, but it seems to me the problem is this pasuk, Mishpat Echad Lachem. See, you're not impressed by that word.
I don't know how far that goes. I understood mishparech lachem meant that that it doesn't matter what type of case, the judges have to take it serious, right? Was
I
that
thought it
what?
also, I think there's also some discussion about it's making an equivalency between, for example, in the discussion about Drisha v'chakira,
Oh, yeah.
that's the basis for the equivalency.
So we did have a distinction between right? One was remember that?
Yeah, I think it starts out saying that with the pasuk, but then says, but there could be differences.
Huh.
If they're minor differences, or if they're not relevant to the subject.
Okay. We had it towards the beginning. We had a difference between capital punishment and monetary. Mishpadach at the end of Gimel. Matam Amr Adini Mamra Sabin Dishu Vachakir Kadesh Tinandels Larvin. You're right. Mishpadechad really messes this up. Makes it look like it should be the same. Okay.
Two different basements. What's 23?
Right. Okay. So we have a machlekes between Reb Meir and Reb Yossi. Regarding if a person is puzzled for monetary cases, does that mean that he's puzzled now for capital punishment? So the way the Gemara wants to do this is it wants to say like this: Neima Abaye Reb Meir, Rava Reb Yossi. Now, the way we'll look at it is Abaye says if a person doesn't keep kosher, then he's puzzled also to testify in court about money. Now, that's really what Reb Meir says, that if a person would lie about money, that he would also lie about capital cases. You know, that if he's not trusted for something minor, we also don't trust him for something major. That's the logic here. And when it came to someone not keeping kosher, so Rava says, okay, he doesn't keep kosher, but that doesn't mean that he's going to lie in court. So that would follow Rabbi Yossi's view that says that just because he lied about monetary cases, but he's still kosher for capital cases. So the Gemara says, Abaye would follow Reb Meir Damar that if someone is invalid because of a minor thing, so he's also invalid for a major thing. And Rava Damar Reb Yossi, Rava follows Reb Yossi's Damar Chumra Mechumra Lakula Amrinan. When it comes to a major thing, so that invalidates him for minor things as well. But Mikul Lachumra La Amrinan. But for minor things, that doesn't mean that he's not trusted for major things. The way Rashi puts this is that person could be Rala Shamayim, he's bad to heaven, he's wicked when it comes to heaven, the ritual law, but that doesn't mean he's Rala Brias. That doesn't mean he's wicked when it comes to other people, to ethics. And
Sounds like but at the beginning they were just against the Sanhedrin, which I'm sorry was against both.
How do you fit in the person who's living with a non-Jewish woman who's invalid for me? How do you look at that? First one is he's doing something wrong to him and Hashem.
right.
But for the minion, is that also because they don't between him and Hashem, or is it lower because non-people need it?
Let me ask them. Dr. Stein is asking that we were always told that someone that marries a non-Jewish woman can't be counted for a minyan. Now, what is that? How does that play into this? Is it because when he marries a non-Jewish woman, there's consent? It's not like right? It's not He's not doing anything against man. It's between him and Hashem. So maybe the minion is also him and Hashem. Somehow we don't count him because of that. I thought that it had to do with just because he's not religious, and we only count people that are religious, that are observant.
Oh, wow. You have so many people that marry Jews to Jew, but they're not religious, so it's still counted.
Well,
No,
don't throw
but-
Jews under the bus.
But that would be
Nah.
that. Okay, so in 1 second.
Wow.
That's
Throwing Jews
someone
under
that's
the
not
bus.
Shomer Shabbos officially should not be counted for.
Oh, wow.
Now the reason why we would have leniencies is because he's a Tinuk Shanishba. It wasn't brought up like that. Now, but maybe what they were saying is that even though he's a Tinuk Shanishba regarding Shabbos, but regarding marrying a non-Jew, maybe it's not a Tinuk Shanishba. Right? That's what maybe people would say that.
The
I don't know.
Rambam, the Ma is like he says very bad things about marrying a non-Jew because that's like the only way that you take something like Kedusha of a Jew goes into, like lowers into a non-Jewish status. It's like more serious than other things. Everything else you can do tshuva for, but that's not one you can do
If a
tshuva
child
for.
born, right,
Yeah.
right. I don't know if that's a problem, but
By
okay.
the way, he never married the non-Jewish woman because the Kedusha were tough.
Right. The Gemara answers. The Gemara says, "Lie." It's not the machlekes Abaye and Rava is not exactly the machlekes between Reb Meir and Reb Yosi. What's really happening here is that Aliba de Reb Yosi kuli amalei pligi. They're not arguing in Reb Yosi. What's going to happen is that Abaye cannot go like Reb Yosi. Abaye says that a person becomes invalid just for not eating kosher. He can't fit with Reb Yosi. Rabbi Yossi would make a person valid for capital punishment even when he lied about the Abaye can't fit with Rabbi Yossi. Keep ligi aliba de Reb Meir. What's really happening here is there's a machlekes in Reb Meir between Abaye and Rava. That it would work like this: Abaye Reb Meir. Abaye says that once a person's invalid, he's invalid. That's what Reb Meir holds as well. Rava would say Ad kan lekam Reb Meir hasam ela gabi zaymim the moment. Why does Reb Meir say that he's invalid? That's because he lies about money. He lies in court. That means he's not good. He's wicked for heaven, and he's also wicked for other people. Okay. So that means that you can't trust him also for capital punishment, because you see in both areas he can't be trusted. Ritual law and also law between man and man. When it came to eating non-kosher, he's not doing anything wrong to anyone else. He's just not eating kosher. It's harmless to the rest of society, right? So lie, I would say that he was still kosher. Say that he's still a kosher one. Okay, now the Gemara concludes. The halacha is like Abaye, that someone that doesn't eat kosher would be an invalid witness. The Gemara says this is very surprising because we had a brisa that we brought that was a question on Abaye. But you said tiyufta da Abaye tiyufta, and now the Gemara says hilchos hakavasei da Abaye. Tiyufta means that you rejected it. This is very odd that the Gemara should do this. Where it says Ahi Rabbi Yosi, that brisa that you brought was anonymous, but we determined that brisa must be the opinion of Rabbi Yosi, which doesn't follow this, right? Where he's going according to Rabbi Meir. So the Gemara says, so what? But having Rabbi Yosi, big deal if it's Rabbi Yosi. Rabbi Meir of Rabbi Yosi, halacha Rabbi Yosi. You have a rule that Rabbi Yosi gets the halacha. Shani Hasam, there's different discussion on Tanakh Rabbi Meir because we have an anonymous Mishnah that follows Rabbi Meir. So usually we would pass like Rabbi Yosi. There'd be a machlekes Rabbi Yosi and Rabbi Meir. But here we have anonymous Mishnah that the Gemara is going to quote later on. That we're going to follow Rabbi Meir. Where's the Mishnah? We'll see. Where is this anonymous Mishnah? Well, Kihad the Bar Chama Katal Nafsha. There was a person, Bar Chama, he killed someone. Amar le Reish Galusa le Rav Abba Bar Yaakov. The Reish Galusa tells that Rav Abba Bar Yaakov must have been the judge. Took ayin ba ivade katel lechu leine. If he definitely killed him, then we're going to poke out his eyes. Now Rashi gives a few pshatim over here. One pshat is that even though they weren't able to do capital punishment, but they could still poke people's eyes out if they there was some institution that that the Beis Din had, or it could be
Poke iron is the same as poke out.
no. Poke is to go and examine it. Yeah, poke ayin, but go and investigate. Divade katel lechu leyene will make him blind. Lechu leyene, to make him blind, which means they'll poke out his eyes. Do you follow that, Reb Naftali? Like this time was saying, "Puk ayin" meant to poke out his eye. No, that's not what the Gemara means. Okay.
I miss you, Naftali.
I miss you too. I'm trying to get all this down for the book, but do my best.
So what happened here was Asichay Sadi Asida Bey Devade Katel. You have two witnesses coming that say, yes, he killed. We saw him kill. This is Bar Chama. Saw Bar Chama kill. Azaliyu, so he went and he got, and I see Trey Sad, he got two witnesses. Asida Bey Bechad Mihana that testified about one of them. Chadamar, one of the witnesses said, Kamedi di Ganav Kaba de Chushla. In front of me, that witness stole a measurement of barley. The Chadamar, the other witness said, Kamedi di Ganav Kata de Burtia. He stole the handle of a spear. Sounds like a piece of wood. Well, he was invalidating the witnesses that were testifying against him. He said that those two witnesses are robbers. Amar lei. So Rav Acha Bar Yaakov says, "My daitach. What are you trying to do? You want me to? You think that Reb Meir, that we're going to follow Reb Meir's view? Reb Meir would say that if you're puzzled from one thing, then you're puzzled even for capital punishment. Reb Meir, Reb Yesi, Allah Reb Yesi. You just because they stole doesn't mean that they're gonna testify falsely and get a person killed. We're going to follow Reb Yesi that says we don't do that. That says Reb Yesi, just because it became invalid for monetary law doesn't mean he's invalid for capital law. Amalei Rav Papi. So Rav Papi says, that we would only go like Reb Yesi if we don't have an anonymous Mishnah that's following Reb Meir. But But here we have an anonymous Mishnah that goes like Reb Meir, and therefore these witnesses are not valid to testify against Bar Chama. Says Mimai, how do you know this? Like, where is this anonymous Mishnah? Maybe the anonymous Mishnah is the following. Anyone that can judge capital law can for sure be a judge for monetary law. Now the Gemara says, one sec. Mani. If you say this is the opinion of Rabbi Yossi, he's not valid. He's invalid for monetary law, but he's kosher for capital law. Because he's an Eid Zayman. He's an Eid Zayman for monetary law. Rabbi Yossi says that does not invalidate him for capital law, which means he would actually be acceptable for capital law, but invalid for monetary law. So it can't be Rabbi Meir. It can't be Rabbi Yossi. It must be Rabbi Meir. Elallah for Meir. It must be that it's Rabbi Meir. So here we have an anonymous Mishnah that goes like Rabbi Meir. Gemara says, "Mimai." How do you know that's what it's talking about? Dilma b'psula yuchsinkai. Maybe it's referring to people that don't have the yichus, the proper lineage. Now it turns out, very interesting Rashi here. Rashi says, "Kiganger umamzer the ksherin ladan dini mamanas absulin ladan dini nefashas." Apparently, on a capital case, you need to have people that are from Jewish descent. And they also need to be, even if they're Jewish descent, they also need to be sherim, not mamzerim. When it comes to monetary law, you don't need Jewish descent. You could have a ger on the Beis Din, and monetary Beis Din, and also mamzer could be on the Beis Din. But not in capital cases.
Didn't we learn before that there was no Jewish court of appeal?
you can choose whatever you like. You can choose any judges, right? And say, I trust these judges, just like you can say, I trust flipping a coin. But what's considered the Beis Din, an actual Beis Din, that would have to be someone that was from, would have to be a Jewish people.
For monetary.
Yeah.
What was the thing we learned about?
We learned
Syria?
we learned that they were traveling to Syria. Oh, we had a koish of Syria. That was just a court that they were going to go to, but it didn't mean that they said they were going to trust.
Oh.
They make up that they're going to trust.
Oh,
it
was still a Jewish court.
I think so. Oh, actually,
I thought we learned this one.
a koish of Syria. I'm not sure.
I remember asking a question then, but I thought, once you go to the non-Jewish court, you can't go back to Jewish court.
That's just policy. That's just policy. And the reason for that, I think the reason for that policy is Naftali. What they say, if you go to a non-Jewish court, you can't go back to the Jewish court. That's just a policy that say you must be coming back because there's some reason that he didn't like something. That's just a policy. You obviously don't care about the halacha. You just went to now you're coming back. It's because you think you're going to gain something.
You didn't like the decision you got or what you think you're going to get, so you come back.
Yeah.
And we consider that one worse. Go back to the
Right. So over here we're saying that maybe what it's meant that if you're eligible to do a capital law, then for sure you could do monetary law because you're eligible because you're miyuchas. So anyone that has that yichus, that lineage, can also do monetary law. If you don't say that this is what it means, the Seifa Diktani, when you continue, it says in the later on, it says it's possible that someone can judge monetary law, but he can't judge capital law. Am I in a right? Why can't he judge capital law? Must be it's a nefashis. Must be if you want to say that he was a zaymimin, and that's the issue. Why can't he judge capital law? Must be because he was a zaymim for dini nefashis. He tried to get someone killed, and he was really lying. He wasn't even there. They were going to say that now he can judge monetary law. That's impossible. No one says that if you're not trusted for capital law, but we still trust you for monetary law. No one says that. So it can't be that we're dealing with Eidim Zaymin. It must be we're dealing with Yichas. We don't put you on as a judge in capital law, but you can still judge monetary law because you don't have the Yichas. Yeah, it's a discussion about if a convert can be a judge to do conversions. That's an interesting discussion. We say that lechatchila no, and possibly even b'diavad no. Yeah, but sometimes you have these batidinim that it's not appropriate. You shouldn't set it up like that.
It's interesting because on the other side, you might say the convert, usually like a doctor who has personal experience, whatever diagnosis is more sensitive and understanding or has more accurately making the diagnosis.
Right.
So it's interesting to hear.
Yeah, interesting. No, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
What means I don't know about that? It means just no.
Bill's gonna show me something in a Benish Chai.
No. I said I have no sources. I said I have no sources.
Okay.
I just heard this.
Okay. Ella must be B'Psul Yuchsin Kai. We're referring to lineage. So we don't have a real source now that when we have a Stam Mishnah like Reb Meir that says that someone that's puzzled for monetary laws can also going to be puzzled for capital punishment. We don't have a source for that yet. Rather, you know what the source is? The source is our Mishnah. The Tanan was taught in our Mishnah. The following are invalid. Mesachik Bekuvia, someone that plays with dice. Malvi beribis, he lends money on interest. Mafricha yainim, he does this bird racing. V'seichri shvius, he sells produce in shmita. Ba'avadim and slaves. Zaklal. This is the rule. Kol eda sheina isha ksherala, afhein ksherma. If a woman isn't trusted for that type of testimony, certain things we would trust a woman, but if a woman is not, can't be trusted in that, so we also don't use these people money. Now, who would say this? If we would say it's Rabbi Yaisi with Eidos B'din Nefashos Sheini Ksherla V'en Ksherla. 1 second. Rabbi Yaisi holds that these people are only invalid for monetary law. Because that's their whole problem, is because of stealing. But they should be eligible for capital law. Rabbi Yaisi says, just because we don't trust you for monetary, it doesn't mean you're going to get someone killed. So this Mishnah can't be Rabbi Yaisi. It must be that our Mishnah is only the opinion of Rabbi Meir that says that if you are invalid for monetary law, because we can't trust you for money, we also can't trust you for din nefashos. Rabbi Bar Chama got up and kissed Rav Papi's feet, and he decided to pay his head tax, the kulashanya, for his kulashanya, I guess means for the whole year, or for his whole life.
The
Rest of his years.
Wow.
Rest of his years. Yeah, is that allowed? I don't know. It's not allowed for after the case for the litigant to pay the person's taxes the rest of his life.
If it happened after the fact, it wasn't planned.
I know, but imagine if you were judging this because of the benefits you're going to get later.
But he didn't know about it.
You didn't know you were going to get partnered in return.
That's what I'm saying. He
If
wasn't
you,
blind
but it
because he didn't know about it.
in American law, can a judge take something after the case is over?
Not like, but let's say, for example,
Can he get a
position like a partner or
No.
of counsel, like at a law firm that
but can he get a yacht because after the case is
I was
no,
done.
he'd get into big trouble.
No.
How many years after do you have to wait? Uh-huh.
But that's the scandal that's been going on about the Supreme Court the last 2 years.
I was.
So what happened?
That individual justices of the Supreme Court have been taking favors and gifts from people who may have had or might have in the future an interest in a case. And they have lifetime tenure, so they can do whatever they want.
Uh-huh.
But a lot of people don't like it.
Wow.
let's say they get speaking engagements at the Daughters of
Yeah.
American.
Yeah.
What we do it is he investigates what's the judge's preferred nonprofit. Does the big donation there.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Why wouldn't it just, Naftali,
Okay,
why
let's leave
wouldn't
it
the
here.
justice be
We're at the Mishnah.
qualified to recluse himself from that case
Recluse himself?
based on the fact
I
that,
believe he's being
he might be
recuse
biased?
himself, sir.
Well,
Recluse himself?
yeah, they can recuse themselves, but it's an odorous thing to do.
But it doesn't look.
It doesn't look good. I mean, all these stories about what Justices Alito and Thomas have taken are really stinky. I bet Daniel has a point of view about this.
They didn't declare it also. I think that's a big deal. Like it was kind of secret.
Yes. It happened in Vegas and with
I
kids.
saw a judge walk into a shul once, and he handed the gabbai over there a silver washing cup. He said, "Someone gave this to me as a gift, and I really can't take it, so I'm giving it to the shul."
Oh, wow.
What good does that do?
I wonder if that's gonna. I wonder if that really helps. Maybe that doesn't help. Maybe he has to give it back to the guy.
He was not accept.
Thank you, Rabbi.
I don't know.
Okay, thank you. Have a good night. Good day.
Have a good day.
As usual, there's no L.